trying to go faster is actually the enemy of going faster in your productivity. Let me explain. When you have ADHD, you are impulsive and you want things now because your brain is saying, I don't have the dopamine. I want the dopamine. Give me the dopamine. Give me the reward chemical. Because we have a dopamine deficiency, which leads to us wanting things immediately. ADHD is impatient. But the problem with impatience is that it leads to mistakes, blunders, screw ups, rework, which is like the worst thing ever in productivity. Well, no, I mean, there are worse things. In fact, rework is a part of churn, which churn is basically just the expected amount of failure within a system. It's the amount that is okay. You're always working on lowering churn, but some churn is expected. But side note. So slow is strategic. That's the thing. And strategy is the lever for your productivity. Strategy is what allows you to have a little input and have a high output. When you make an effective plan and you have a good strategy in mind and you actually follow it, that's the more hard, difficult part. This is what makes you fast. And here's the thing. If you can be strategic consistently, and guess what? Being in a fast frame of mind, having really high momentum, being anxious, being stressed, which that's one downside of being fast, is it makes you anxious, stressed, rushed. It lowers the quality of work. And the stress, because you have ADHD, the way you can think about it, because we have poor emotional regulation, is every single day you can either choose the upward spiral or the downward spiral. And so when you're rushing, when you're being impatient, when you're trying to go as fast as possible, when you're not in peace, which comes from being detached from outcomes and being okay with getting whatever you get whenever it comes, basically having faith that it will all work out, letting God do his part while you do yours. When you're not in peace, you cannot be a good strategist. You're thinking too fast. You're not being thorough. You're not being deliberate. This slows you down in the long run. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you pride yourself on being fast, you're probably moving in the wrong direction. Slow is steady and steady is speedy. And here's the thing about strategy and going slow. A huge part of strategy is compounding interest. Choosing to do things that are going to be investments for the future. Guess what? You can invest in your speed. If you are focusing all of your energy and focus points onto going faster, like personally, like you using your engine, like using your noggin to like blaze through and make like these optimizations and just keep going, if you're pushing it, you have less resources and energy to actually be putting in the place where it matters, which is working on the engine or working on the vehicle of your productivity, which is going to be a group of systems, supporting systems that offset the ADHD deficits. This program that you're seeing right now, this is one of these systems for me. It's called Obsidian. It's free online if you want to get it. And it's called a knowledge management system. And I use it to systematize my life and make things easier on me. And every time I make something a little easier on me, I create consistency. And here's the thing about consistency. If you try to go fast, if you are pushing your limit and you're trying to go at speed, guess what happens? The human system is flimsy. The human system fails. The human system has bad days. So your productivity starts to look like this. And it's spiky, it's bad, you're not actually going up, you'll go up and then you'll fall down again. You're spiraling out of control. And then over time, if this goes on for a really long time, you just wind up living a life that feels like crap. Your cognition goes down because of all the stress. Like this basically only has downsides. The only upside you could say is like, oh, suffering builds character. We all know how that goes. So what is so much faster and so much better is just making consistency. And guess what? Your brain can't do consistency. I'm sorry to tell you. I mean, you kind of knew this, but your ADHD brain does not like consistency. It doesn't really do consistency. You might like consistency. You might enjoy consistency, but it needs to be enforced upon you by an outside force. That's the only way it's going to happen. And that is why you need to create these systems that give you this outside and external structure. And the more of these you stack up, the more consistent you become. Guess what? A machine doesn't have a bad day. you will just improve at the rate of whatever consistency you're able to add into your life. And so every time you add consistency, it's like, let's say this is your first system. This is your second system. This is your third system. This is your fourth system. Do you see how that is exponentially faster than you trying to push your limit? This always has a cap as well. This doesn't, because systems allow you to manipulate inputs and outputs of force, of resources, really, where you can have a lower input and a higher input on the back end. Your human system, the only way you can do this is by increasing your intelligence. But guess what? If you increase your intelligence, you'll inevitably come upon this, because this is just the better thing to do. Another reason why trying to be fast just sucks is that when you're in this stressful state of mind, when you're in this go, rip and tear productivity, you cannot go into flow. And flow is the fastest state of being at your disposal. When you are in flow, everything feels effortless. Flow also feels amazing, which makes you love work, which lowers the bar of entry, which adds more consistency to your life. I wouldn't say that there's no point in working unless you're in flow, but to be honest, they are so drastically different, not being in flow versus being in flow, that I am almost inclined to say that. So honestly, the first system that you could create is, how am I going to find my flow? Which I'll make a video on how to find your flow next time. Another thing about going slow is it allows you to work on your foundation. When we have ADHD, we get tunnel vision. We're so worried about getting what we want. We want the success, we want the thing in the future, that it's like we're climbing a ladder that isn't fully built. Like, it's inevitably just going to wind up in you falling flat on your face. And maybe you get really, really good at it, but guess what? The staff only has so high of a limit. You can only run so high with the staff. So you need to slowly build your ladder, or build your stairs, build your foundation. You do things at the level you're at to make things easier, and then you go up. This saves you so much time in the long run when you just focus on your foundation first. If you're trying to chase success, but everything is on fire, that lets you know it's not time to be chasing success yet. It's time to put out the fire, whatever the fire is. Then once the fire is gone, once you have peace, which brings you clarity, then you can start to go up. And I'm going to give you one trick, and this kind of ties everything together. There's this concept I like to call proper order magnitude, POM for short. And proper order magnitude is essentially the idea that if you do things in the right order, you get a higher yield. An example would be sharpening an axe before you choose to chop down a tree. Sharpening the axe is going to make chopping the tree go down quicker. Studying how to study before you just launch yourself into a whole career path that is going to require a lot of studying up front will make you faster and better in the long run. And don't let this be something that is a form of procrastination, but just understand clearly the string of things that you have to do. Make a proper order magnitude document. Here's how I do it. I list out all the potential options of things that could make me go faster, and then I sort them after I've listed them all out and it's externalized, so they're not all bouncing around in my bad working memory. Don't try to hold things in your head when you have ADHD. Then you sort them after you get them all on the paper, and then you can create the string, and then you know, okay, this is what I have to do. Create a clear end metric for each of them, where there should be some sort of assignment or some sort of metric that you can track, where it's like, okay, once I'm able to do this, I'm done, and I can move on to the next one. If you do this, this will also get you hundreds of times return on speed and energy and effort. So there you have it. This whole channel is about helping people with ADHD get a higher return on their life. So if you want to get more out of life, if you want to understand how to manage your ADHD better, go ahead and subscribe so the videos will get pushed to your feed so that you can have a consistent source of improvement. That can be your first little consistency system. Go ahead and like the video if you want this to be pushed to more people. And really quick, I just want to say thank you so much for watching till the end of the video. That is the most important stat. Thank you for supporting this channel. Peace.